Welcome everybody. You're tuning to Shank Club NFL, broadcasting live on Twitch, everywhere. Periscope, you know how we do this thing. Couple of things to go through very quickly before I introduce our guest. Unfortunately, Pete can't be with us. He's decided to step back from the Shank Club for a while for personal reasons, which I totally appreciate. I'm not going to broadcast why, but you all know everyone's got your back. So we're looking out for you. We speak all the time, as you know, every day. If you need to go out and get drunk or whatever, just to numb the pain, do whatever. It's cool. Pete, please text me later. We'll have a chat. We'll WhatsApp, whatever. Okay, right. Without further ado, we are live. We've got Danny from the Atlanta Falcons UK joining us. Danny, how are you doing?
Hiya, mate. You all right? Not too bad this week after a win finally. So, yeah, I'm doing good.
Not bad after about 2 hours sleep, I think, wasn't it? I know it wasn't.
Pretty much, yeah.
Yeah, pretty cool. Scott, as ever, the bat signal goes up. Scott, Mr. Smug over there in Kansas. How you doing?
I'm good. How are you guys doing?
Yeah, we're good. And finally, unfortunately, he couldn't make it last week, but he is back with a vengeance. Jason, he's fast. Every time I switch on either Twitter or YouTube or somewhere, Jason is doing another show, and it's just like Jason. So you must be doing something right, Jason. How you doing, brother?
Yeah, for sure. I think, the 49er homers just like my takes and stuff as well, too. But, this week is Seattle week, so 49ers fans are starved for it right now.
Unfortunately, my stomach is churning for that, and I hate it. And I'm probably like every single Niners fan right now.
I'm just happy it's not Sunday Night Football. I'm just happy that it's a regular. It's on the regular 4 p.m. slate, so I don't have to wait all day for it.
Exactly, and plus, if we do stink the place up, you don't have to wait so long, which is always good. But we're not going to, but we'll get onto that later. Couple of other things. Happy Halloween to everybody. I know you guys in America are big on Halloween. UK, it's becoming a thing, but it's not as massive as it is with you guys. And I do appreciate you taking your time out, because I know Jason was desperate to go out trick-or-treating with his daughter.
In a little bit, yeah.
Candy and all that kind of thing. So you can do that later, Jason. Thanks for hopping on. I really appreciate it.
You got it.
Okay, so weekend coming up. Obviously, Atlanta already won on Thursday Night Football. I did get up and watch it. And I'm sure Danny wants to touch on a few things for that game. But one thing I need to touch on before you go into it, Danny.
Uh-oh.
I want to know. Hi, Matthew. Thanks for joining. We had a conversation about Todd Gurley in the off season.
We did indeed.
Very hot topic, right? Yes, he is the leading touchdown scorer of running backs, or is that in the entire league? I'm not so sure.
I think it's the entire league, 10.
Entire league. But he's not been that effective in the running game per se. I would say personally. So let's lead off with that, Danny. I watched Thursday night, and up at one point he was like 10 runs for 2 yards or 4 yards or something like that.
Yeah.
I know he obviously broke out a bit and scored the touchdown, and he obviously had that cock up last week, and he stepped out of bounds this week. So what's your thoughts, being an Atlanta fan, on Todd Gurley?
Being incorrectly utilised thus far for me. He was brought in with the intention of him being used in the red zone and not much else. And we've been pretty much reliant on him all over the place, all over the field. And I don't think he's built for that anymore. I don't think he's built for making up a large amount of yards. I mean, obviously, that's just my take on it. But when he gets in the red zone, he's absolutely lethal when he finds the pockets. But deeper back in the field, like you said, he's making absolutely no yards up whatsoever. For me, I just keep using him in the red zone, and we've got enough rotation for him not to have to play every single snap, like he didn't in the last game, to be fair. I mean, after the second drive, we barely saw him for half the game, so that was an improvement. But I mean, on a 5-6 mil contract, the amount of touchdowns he's on so far, I don't think we could have asked for much else, to be completely honest with you. Even if you try and pin the cock up from last weekend on him, it's still down to the defense, in my opinion, to recover that game. I know he shouldn't have scored. He knows he shouldn't have scored. But with 1 minute and 4 seconds on the clock, that is not his fault for them scoring a touchdown whatsoever. So I can't knock him too much. He's
have such a fat arse because he rolled into the end zone on his arse, didn't he? It was a shame.
He tried so hard to turn away.
But what's your thoughts on it, Jason? Because I know you do watch a lot of tape. What's your thoughts on Gurley this season at Atlanta?
So I'm not certain that it's really Gurley just being ineffective. Like, I've always had my reservations about Dirk Cutter as far as like how he's able to utilize his running backs and how his running and passing splits are never even close, really, most of the time. And this is a track record that goes all the way back to Tampa Bay when he was their coach as well. He wasn't able to utilize Ronald Jones or any of those guys as well, too. So I think it's less what that has to do with Todd Gurley and more that has to do with, the fact that Dirk Cutter doesn't know how to put him in position to win, because he should be used at the red zone. There should be plenty of scoring opportunities for him. So it's a little bit of a mystery. Look, clearly Todd Gurley isn't the Todd Gurley from 2 years ago that dominated the league, right? But I still think that it's a little bit overstated, his decline, right? Like it's a combination of, the Falcons being in poor situations, 3rd and long, 2nd and long, and things like that, and trying to use them that way. And I feel like it's coaching sometimes too, man. Like it wasn't just Dan Quinn. Dan Quinn wasn't the one putting the offense in its positions. Dirk Cutter just has this reputation of just being so pass heavy, which is great for us fantasy football guys. Thank you, Julio Jones. Thank you. Unfortunately, Calvin Ridley got hurt, but with Gurley, I just feel like this was an odd pairing, for you to go ahead and get him, right? And we already have this track record of Cutter not really using running backs the right way. It always felt like an odd pairing for me, and I think we're kind of seeing it happen right now. It's just that the Falcons are so in flux right now with what they want to do week to week. So it's really, I would blame coaching more than I would Gurley at this point.
Yeah.
Have you got anything on that, Scott? You want to chime in if you've seen anything of Gurley this season?
Yeah, I don't know. Like Jason said, he's definitely obviously not Todd Gurley from a few years ago when he was with the Rams. He's had, injury issues going all the way back to college, and he had the knee problems, and that's kind of been the bugaboo with him recently. And I guess, I mean, it doesn't matter if you're only averaging 3 yards a carry if they keep giving it to you at the 2-yard line. So, I mean, the name of the game is touchdowns. You'd like to think that somebody else on the team can score those touchdowns, though. So he's a mediocre running back at this point in his career. And unfortunately, that's due to injuries, because anybody that watched him in college in his first few years in the NFL, he had all the talent in the world and was an exciting player to watch. But, yeah, he's just kind of a shadow of himself at this point, and I don't know what the Falcons do moving forward. I think is his first name, Brian Hill. He's
but he's smaller
here and there. But again, then he shows some signs that he's Brian Hill at the same time. So
he's
kind of like Jason said, he's not what he used to be, but he's not completely washed up either. I wouldn't say.
For sure.
I think one thing we can definitely agree on. Sorry, Danny.
No, it's right.
Arthur Blank rocks some serious swag on the side like that. When they cut to him in that velvet jacket, I thought of Liberace circa 1975 Las Vegas. But he pulled it off. I could never do anything like that. That dude is just so cool.
Well, if you had $1 billion, you could.
I was just about to say, I used to work at Home Depot, so that was one of my first jobs as a kid. So I know all about Mr. Blank, and yes, the man has considerable coins.
I was going to say, yeah, you own Home Depot, you don't give a shit what you wear on the side.
The Falcons, all that's extra for him. The Home Depot is where it's at for him.
Exactly.
And real quick, going back to the Todd Gurley touchdown where he shouldn't have scored the touchdown or whatever, and then I'm sorry, you score the touchdown there, and then you make your defense not give up a touchdown and a 2-point convert. If you run the clock down and then miss a short field goal, which I think their kickers missed already, 3 or 4 extra points this year, and
Yeah.
you miss it and
He
you lose,
did it at
you
the-
are
he did
the
it at
laughing
Thursday night,
stock
right?
of the league for that week. So no, absolutely not. We used to deal with that with the Chiefs and some of their high-powered offenses when they had Trent Green and even Mahomes in his first year, and we just had no defense. And people would say, "Oh, the Chiefs, they score too quick and they score too often. They leave their defense out there too much." And no. Like,
Yeah.
scoring touchdowns is never a bad thing.
Do you know the thing that struck me, and more as I've gone through the seasons in NFL, you leave a minute on the clock, that is like 5 minutes in soccer, right?
Yeah.
That is far too long.
Stop it.
And it's like 5 minutes of real time, and you think, and I always remember years and years and years ago thinking, well, it's a minute and 4 seconds. There's no way a team is going to go 80 yards, get a touchdown, get a 2-point conversion, or whatever to win or to draw.
Yeah.
And now it's like commonplace for a lot of these teams. I mean, Aaron Rodgers does it. Brady's done it. Matty Ice has done it in the past, and to leave that amount of time on the clock for someone like the Lions, even though it's only the shitty Lions, by the time you're there, your defense was pretty gassed anyway. You still weren't at full strength. And that kind of is the worst time of all time to leave that. I mean, if it was the end of the first half, you've still got the second half that you can try and put things right. But at the end of the game, and I've got a funny feeling the end of the game this week in Seattle is going to play a part, whether it's Niners or Seattle. But it's going to play a part. And to me, 1 minute and 4 seconds for the Lions was too long. Whether he meant to do, and you've seen the audio, Danny, right? What was
Yeah, we did.
The Ice was saying to, and he quite clearly heard him say, don't score. And then, well, you saw his reaction in the mic'd up section, right?
Also, Danny, you had a tweet blow up, right? My Sports
We
Update,
did.
yeah. My Sports Update actually cited his tweet, and My Sports Update is like the #1 NFL page, right? And his tweet went crazy. It was, what was it? It was it the Lions tapping him down when he scored, or?
Yeah, it was just I think we were just one of the first pages to actually post the footage with the audio of Matt Ryan saying, "Don't score, whatever you do, just get your first down." It's ended up with nearly 900,000 views, which is mental. But the opinions on it are so weird to listen to, because for me, everybody's saying Todd Gurley's done it like intentionally. He's done this. He wanted the touchdown because he's on an incentive-based contract, but he didn't. You could see the pain in him. He got baited by them because one of them actually hit him, and he wasn't expecting anyone to hit him because he wasn't expecting resistance. He was going to make the yards and then go down. And when he got the hit, I think his brain must have just gone into the mode where this is where I've got a touchdown, because it's so routine.
Sorry, Danny. Where was the first down marker? Was it on the one, or where was the first down that he should have got and then stopped?
It was pretty much on the one, like the one behind. It was a play before it. I think that actual footage, the voiceover of Matt saying "don't score the touchdown" was actually from the play before and not the actual touchdown play that happened. But still, that should be running through your head.
Well, exactly. You've been told once, don't screw it up, and then
Exactly.
and it's like with the Thursday night football, he went out of bounds again and got away with murder because if Bridgewater hadn't have been booped upside the head badly and kicked nuts by Fowler Jr. on the same play.
Yeah.
Quite weird, because I put that tweet out, and sadly, being up at 3:20 in the morning watching it, saying that's a really dirty, cheap shot, nobody picked up that I was talking about the kick in the nuts, not the late hit.
Yeah.
Because you could and that's what I thought it was actually. There were two fouls, if you like, I call to the rule book, but they didn't pick up him getting kicked in the nuts by Fowler as he went past. It was the late dirty hit, and to me they were both. Well, one was heinous and was ridiculous, and the guy got kicked out. But that again, I think, was frustration from the Atlanta defense point of view, from Fowler, because he'd been chippy all game, right?
Yeah. You know what? Fowler as a player is not sitting right with me at the minute at the Falcons. His first couple of games, he looked bright, and he looked like he had promise for us. And since we've got into this rut, he's just not. He doesn't look focused, and he doesn't look interested. He's had so many occasions where he could have made the yards upon players that are running with the ball, and he either looks like he's half-arsing it, or he just does not hit them with intent. There's absolutely no commitment in his play at the moment, and I hope that is just what it looks like, and it's not actually what's happening. But for a player that's come in on a contract the size that he come in on, I was expecting a hell of a lot more. I mean, he got 11 sacks last season off the top of my head.
For the Rams, right?
Yeah, of course. So we had every intention of him hitting at least that sort of level, but not even close. Not even close.
The thing is that Fowler has that reputation before he got there, right? So to the Rams, right, with the Jaguars, so he was, it's kind of like an aborted pick almost. Then you have to remember too, like, so this is what's weird about sacks and how fickle they are. Like last year, Shaq Barrett led the league in sacks. I don't think he's registered just one yet, right? Yeah. So sacks are fickle. And as a Falcons fan, you know this, right? Vic Beasley runs away with the sack lead, and now he can't even like hold the job down. I think what happened last year with Fowler is that when you have a guy like Aaron Donald gobbling up all those double teams, you get those advantageous one-on-ones, and he really cashed in on that. It's just I don't want to call him lazy, but that's been the reputation for him. Like I'm not going to call a football player lazy because they'll rip my face off, and clearly they can. All right, but I mean that's kind of been
stand your own, Jason. You could stand your own while you're running down the sidewalk. Don't worry.
I could try and run away, but he's going to catch me for sure. Like I'm out of here.
I'll give you a 80-yard head start. You might make it.
Maybe. Doubt it.
But yeah, it's interesting what you say about Fowler, because obviously he was part of Saxonville. He was doing well there. He went to the Rams, did well there, and he's come over here to your guys, and you kind of wonder whether we're losing today. I don't give a shit.
That's how I feel when I watch him. That's how I feel every week, apart from the first couple. When I watch him so far, he looks like he lacks commitment. He doesn't go in hard on anyone. He doesn't look like he wants to take anyone out, apart from when he's trying to scissor kick him last week. I don't know. It doesn't sit right, especially when he's an experienced player, and we've got a lot of younger players that need players like him around them, and he's just not showing, like, leading the way. He's just not performing how he should be doing to show them like what should be going on.
Is he in a contract year, or is he in the middle of a contract at the moment?
I'm pretty sure we signed him on like a 48 mil or something stupid like that. I think it was about that.
Or last year.
Yeah.
So basically, making his money, they're losing. I'll make a half-ass attempt to at least make it look like I'm trying.
And just thinking, I won't get injured. I'll just do as little as I can. I hope it's not the case, but it looks it. So,
how many? Okay, so briefly staying with the Falcons, and you know my opinions of what I've seen so far, and about etc. That's well highlighted. We won't go there. Has there been an improvement in your overall? Bearing in mind, you've got players back from injury, your schedule allegedly has kind of softened a little bit. Do you think you're going in the right direction? You're just going to be a leveling season and hope for the best next year? What has happened since Dan Quinn got fired, realistically?
I've not seen a huge improvement in terms of our actual quality of play, but there has been an improvement in the mentality, even though obviously we still lost the game. The mentality does look a little bit better. It's just we're so light in some positions. Our pass coverage is just atrocious. Secondary in general, just absolutely atrocious, and a lot of work needs doing. That was a weakness going into the season anyway, but it's just been amplified by all of the injuries that we've had. I think at this point, if we can get anywhere around 6 wins, maybe it'd be a positive return, considering the second half of our season is a hell of a lot harder than what we've played so far. So I don't know. I don't know what I need anymore, because loads of people are saying tank, but no team can intentionally tank. No players are ever going to say, nope, I'm lying down. They're still playing for their careers. They still need tape for the next regime, whoever comes in. So there's
Trouble
absolutely
is,
no way that can
if you
happen.
tank and you tank purposely, that's where serious injuries can happen because people aren't trying.
Yeah.
And you can't tell me ever that Julio Jones and Matt Ryan will ever tank.
Not even knock a hope in hell. And you know what? It's not even just them two. There is some insanely talented players on that roster. It's just there's so many gaps that have started to emerge, whether it be injury or poor performance. Like Calvin Ridley is absolutely unbelievable to watch. I feel horrible on the players of that quality that are dealing with a team that are probably going to end up in 5-11 or something along that kind of line. And
why do you think Trevor Lawrence might not be coming out this year?
Well,
no, he's not coming out. He's not coming out if the Jets have the first pick.
mm-hmm. but
But
that's understandable.
right, well, it certainly is. The only issue is that if he doesn't watch it and he wants to come out next year, the Jets will have the next pick again next year. The first pick.
You know what? That's very true. And it could be the Giants. You don't know, right?
Yeah.
And he's playing a very dangerous game. Maybe you should do what
Eli did.
Eli did. He said he wasn't going to Tampa. Was it Tampa?
No,
or
the Chargers when they were in San Diego.
Right, sorry. But he got traded, right? Well, he got drafted, but then got traded, and well, it all kind of worked out for him.
It worked out for all of them, I'd say. I mean, the Chargers can't say that if they had Eli Manning, they would have won a championship instead of Phillip Rivers. So they can't say that. So, I mean, I think it worked out for everybody.
No, definitely. So yeah, I mean, I'm hopeful for Atlanta. I hope they, because of Matty Ice, I love him.
Yeah.
And I'm frustrated, and I'm not even a fan, and I can't watch the Falcons. I get shit insomnia, and I'm awake in the middle of the night, and I watch Thursday. I mean, Scott and Jason, every time a game's on Thursday night football, Sunday night, and I'm tweeting, they're like, "The fuck are you doing up?"
Right.
Can't sleep. It's not my fault. But you're watching Jet Bengals or whatever. Well, it's football,
Right.
and I can't help myself,
Yeah, it's true. I mean, I'm the same way too. Like my wife will ask me, like, "Why are you watching this?" I'm like, "Man, I'm here to watch the best receiver in the world play." I mean, like I love watching Julio Jones play. Like, so I it's anybody that's on. I'll take football any day of the week.
I think all of us probably would. If we're awake or our team's playing in the late game. It's like me, like the Niners always over here, 9:25. Very rarely are they the 6 p.m. I will always watch a 6 p.m. game before the Niners come on. It's like I've watched the Steelers the past few weeks.
Yeah.
Scott Sikowski. What a
next week. Next week's a Thursday game for the Niners too. Is a Thursday night game, so there you go.
That's 1:20 in the morning. Beautiful.
Love it.
Got to be done. I mean, I'll go to bed at 9, probably sleep till midnight, get up, watch the game, go to work, do 10 hours, come home, and then just crash.
That's out. Yep.
Yeah.
That's the thing about being a fan, and a lot of American people are getting it now. Us UK fans, we don't care what time our team's on.
No.
We'll do 3 hours sleep, and then we'll go to work. Because it's what you do. You pick your team. And that's what it is. I mean, and I've been in America when the Niners are playing, and it's weird watching them at the correct time in the States, because I'm used to, 10 o'clock in the morning when you have an early game, it's 6 p.m. here. So we're all through our day. Whereas when you're in the States and you see like all these people used to, not this year, obviously, but tailgating at 7 in the morning and shit. And like, I'm a hardcore drinker, but to me, 7 o'clock in the morning, getting on it, even I would struggle.
I miss it, man. That's the best part. It's you drink from 7 to 12:30, and then you don't even remember what happens at the game, even if you're it's a beautiful thing.
That's like the Shag Club when we go and watch the international games. We start at 8 a.m. and by 2 o'clock we've forgotten what we've done and where we are and what we're doing. But that's half the fun.
Right.
Okay, so let's have a little chat about Scott and your team, Chiefs. How have you found your season so far? Are you quite happy with how it's gone? Are you thinking you shouldn't have got that loss? How are you feeling?
Yeah, it's pretty hard to complain when you only lost one game so far. The Raiders game, still disappointing because of how I think they lost the game. I think they overlooked them. I don't think they took the game seriously. And that's always concerning, but I don't know. You always hear sometimes it's good for a team to get a loss out of the way early because you don't have the pressure of people talking about undefeated later, and it's kind of a wake-up call. It's kind of a reset. You would hope that wouldn't happen to a division team at home, but I don't really see the Raiders contending seriously down at the end of the season for the division. So, yeah, it's hard to complain. They had a pretty easy win against the Broncos. The offense didn't even play that good, and they still won by 20, I think it was, so 42-17 or something. There's no real complaints. The defense has played pretty well. The offense has played well. They had a few games. They've beaten some good teams. They beat Buffalo. They've beaten Baltimore, which are two teams that are up towards the top of the standings when you start looking at the AFC picture for home field advantage in the playoffs. It's hard to complain. They've obviously got a snoozer. I think you could overlook the Jets and still win that game because, God, they are terrible.
With Chris Jones saying that they're a good football team, come on, man. What do you come on? No, they aren't. Don't lie. Like you don't have to disrespect them, but don't lie. Come on.
You heard
that's
the rest
the pressers, right? They always go, yeah, we really respect this coach, that coach, and they've got a great this, and and you're like, stop pissing about.
No.
Don't be nice to them, but don't.
Well, I think some of that is a carryover from the Raiders' loss. I think the coach is in their ear saying, "You already overlooked somebody and lost. You know, there's no bad teams." That's coach speak. But you heard the rest of that quote, right?
Yeah, he's like
they're a good team, and people forget that because
they haven't won a game.
I don't know if he was trying to be funny or what.
I thought that second part was more damning than the first part.
Right,
like,
exactly.
People forget that they're a good football team because they haven't won a game. What? No.
Yeah, but
you see that loss of Kansas to the Raiders was the same as the Niners getting absolutely shat upon by the Dolphins. You can make as many excuses as you like for, we had our 10th, 15th, 20th cornerback, blah, blah, blah. But I watched that game and I think we underestimated the Dolphins to a certain extent. And I think Kansas did with the Raiders. And you kind of needed to get that game out of your system. And we've done that, right, Jason? We've moved on. We've beaten the Rams. We murdered the Patriots, inflicted the worst loss ever in the Belichick era at home, which is hilarious. I've got to say, I'm sorry, but the hooded one got his hood pulled over his head and kicked up his arse.
Sometimes you just need that kick in the teeth like that. And you know, like the only thing that I'll say about the Chiefs one, I have a hard time believing that you guys overlook like a divisional team. Like, because those games you have to get up for, right? Like, those are the ones that really like. But, I mean, it is possible. Like, I feel like the 49ers overlooked Miami and Arizona the same way in week one. So, you know what? I can kind of see it now that I've talked through it. But, yeah, I expect more from the Chiefs and Andy Reid, right, to not let that happen, you know? So, I mean, it can happen, but I'm surprised, honestly. I'll be honest with you.
Yeah, I agree with the division thing. I think something that factors into that, though, is they'd beaten them like 8 straight. They'd beaten them 12 of the last 13 or something. So, yeah, Andy Reid's record against the division is like, I think you go back the last 30 games with that loss, maybe now it's 27-3, which is just that shouldn't happen in a professional football league. So,
right.
I would say my biggest disappointment of the season so far, and Jason kind of hinted at it just a second ago, is not being able to go to the games, not be able to tailgate the game day atmosphere. I mean, I have season tickets to the Chiefs, and I love going out there, and it sucks not being able to go. But as far as the record and how the teams performed and the performance on the field, I mean, you really couldn't ask for much more, really.
For sure.
Sorry, Jason. Scott, you said you're a season ticket holder at Arrowhead. Is there a ballot for the people that can actually attend, or is it a game by game deal, or is it they've decided that only these people can go?
So they're going through every 3 or 4 games and they're determining what the capacity is. and then they're offering tickets to season ticket members based upon seniority, how long you've had your tickets.
So loyalty points, if you like.
But they're like my seat. It's normally $100 for the game. They've been selling them for like $300 and $400. So I'm not gonna pay that kind of money to go to a game.
Right. That's always been my question with that. That's always everywhere that I've ever gone to go to watch a game, it's expensive. Even like when I went to Tampa last year, they weren't good, but the tickets were not cheap. Now you're talking about stripping down the capacity. Imagine how much more they're selling for each seat.
Right. And you go to the game and the stadium's 3/4 empty, and you lose a lot of the atmosphere, the game day experience anyway, because it's like back when the team was 2-14 and there was nobody there. It's not loud. And
I was going to say, I mean, I can't imagine that stadium ever being that empty, but like it is now. But I can imagine if your team isn't very good, and bearing in mind a lot of people since Levi opened and the Niners were crap, and the thing was, there's no, and it's like all fans are fickle. If you suck, no one's going to watch you.
No.
In a lot of cases, right? But if, like last year, you're on a Super Bowl run, Levi's was like the stick from back in the day, and I never thought I'd see Levi's be that amped. And and this year I'd saved money up to go over. I was going to go and join the Nothing But Niners crew at a game. And obviously March came and COVID happened. And so I'm hoping next year that I can come over and watch some game. But it's weird because I still love watching the game, even with no fans there, because we've had it in the Premier League. Like I say, well, this season and kind of last season, which is still this year. And you still get the crowd noise. And if the guy on the old button's doing the crowd noise is good, you don't even know the crowd isn't there, right? Are you with me, Danny, on that?
Yeah.
There isn't a crowd there.
It's definitely improved for the first few weeks, and there was teething problems, and somebody would shoot, and it'd be completely the wrong
pressing the wrong buttons and stuff. But then you see. In Philadelphia, the guy had the right idea, because when they were crap and went 3-0, he was on the boom.
Yeah, I can't believe that's so petty. That is so petty to do that, honestly.
But that's so Philadelphia, Jason.
It's true.
Right?
It's true. That's the thing. So I mean, it was completely on brand. See, that's the thing, right? You're paying these guys to do it. Come on, man, get the call right, man. Like if my team throws a pick at home, I don't want to hear cheers. Like that doesn't make any sense. Like they need to figure that part out.
Yeah.
That's for sure. Carly's in the house. Let's bring this comment up. Carly, always. I know he's at work at the moment, and apparently we help him get through his working morning. And he's asking, what's the thing you guys miss the most about not being at the stadium? Now, I can't answer that from an American standpoint, but I will do it from a British international series. But let's go around the horn first. Scott, what do you miss most? And it can be anything.
I miss when you go into the stadium and they do the intro and the players run out in the field. They do this. We sing the national anthem. And at the end of the anthem, they do, and the home of the Chiefs, and it's just loud. And the players, you can tell it fires the players up, and the stadium just goes into like a frenzy, man. That's what I miss the most, for sure.
Jason, what do you miss?
I miss the discussions, right? Like for me, whenever the 49ers play over here in Jersey and I go, we're the team on the outside looking in, right? Because we're in somebody else's home. But I miss the discussions. Oh, your team. Well, I know about your team too. So let's, don't throw stones in a glass house if you're a Giants or Jets fan at me. So I miss the banter. I really just miss the discussions. As long as it stays in good fun, that's it. I really miss that part of it.
Danny, have you been to any international series games?
Yeah. We went last year. There's none
this year, but obviously we can talk about how different it is over here compared to what it's like in the States. So
absolutely,
what's your day like for an international series? What do you do? Where do you go? How do you get involved?
Honestly, for us, I know you two are huge drinkers pre-game, but we just it was our first year of doing it.
Time out. No, we're not. That's just a rumor.
Rumor has it. But no, because it's made to be such a big event over here, and you've got fans from all 32 teams. There's so much pre-game entertainment outside, and there's like a million different talk shows going on because it's on like hundreds of different TV channels and stuff. And we literally just spent like 3 hours outside the stadium before the game, just walking around, looking at all the events, and obviously like Neil's there and everyone like that. That was it for me. Just the pre-game was as exciting as the actual game itself. I mean, the games for us are a lot different for you guys when you're at a home stadium because you've got fans of all of the teams. The atmosphere is so like that because you cheer for a team and then you're like, wait, does that affect me later on in the season? And but you don't care whilst you're at the moment. But yeah, it's just, I think it's a completely different event, or I'd imagine so, to what it's like over in America.
Definitely. You know, the thing that gets me and anyone that comes over here, or even the networks when they come, and see how diverse, and they can't believe 32 teams turn up on a game to represent their teams.
It is insane.
You can walk up Wembley Way and there'll be, you know, you'll be talking to Chiefs fans, you'll be talking to Dolphins, you'll see, I see Seahawks fans, and of course I've got to say something, I can't help myself.
Yeah.
Or something, not just friendly banter, as they say. And they, to be fair, they give it back to me as well. And you see other Niners fans and you nod and appreciate, but it's just a totally different atmosphere.
Yeah.
And that's, again, changing the subject slightly. That's my thing why I don't think a franchise over here would really work.
No.
Because the American model of tailgating and, you know, all the razzmatazz that goes with it pre-game with two different teams wouldn't work because you're still going to get the same crowd turn up. You're still going to get all 30 teams turn up. You're not going to get, what I'm saying, Danny, you're not going to get the Niners at Seahawks. I know there's no fans there, but, you know, you'll get pocket Niner fans, but most of all, it'll be Seattle fans. It'll be loud. It'll be crazy. It'll be, you'll never get that here if you get a franchise.
Not even nor when you have authentic fans. I really don't think you'd get many authentic fans because I wouldn't change my team. And I know that anyone else that already has a team would not change their team just because they come over here.
I don't even think they would become your second team.
No, because what if they're in your division, or what if it affects you later in the season?
Exactly. It's one of them things that I think it will happen, but I don't think it's going to have the impact that the NFL think it will happen. I think they're just going to make sure that they get 8 games a season instead of 4, and a lot of the other team's fans, because that's the other thing. It will draw in, you know, all of the other fans from the opposing team as such, as well as all the other, you know, the other teams. So I don't know how it's going to work.
I think their goal in adding an England team would not necessarily be to placate or reach out to fans like you all who already have a team. I think they're trying to go for new people that don't watch that.
But to be honest,
that's what it's all about, is getting more and more and growing and growing.
Money.
But it's a big sport already here. And a lot of people will like you guys in America, you pass down your fandom to your
right.
And it comes from somewhere, right? Not from me or from Danny, because we don't have that heritage. Like Jason, his dad, big Niners fan.
Yeah.
So the heir apparent hands it down, you know. It's like Darth Vader and Luke Skywalker and all that sort of thing. You know, it's passed on. I mean, Scott, were any of you, where did your fandom come from? Was yours passed down, or?
Oh yeah, no, that's my family has lived in Kansas City for generations, and everybody's big Chiefs fans, and definitely no, all my aunts and uncles and grandparents and mom and dad, I mean, everybody are big Chiefs fans. I mean, that's kind of there's two things that really the city of Kansas City identifies with, and it's barbecue and the Chiefs, and that's really like that's kind of like what the city's proud of. So, yeah, I think they're trying to get people that don't watch it all to start watching, and I think they think that by giving you your own team, that people that don't watch it all will start watching. I think that's the goal. I don't know that they think that anybody will switch teams, or that it's like folks like you that are over there and you already have your team.
To be honest, that's where it will struggle. If I'm honest.
Yeah, that would be their goal, though, I think.
Yeah, exactly. Another comment. This is what Callie misses. I miss that smell of football, the food cooking, the smell of beer. That electricity is so exciting. That sounds like a Shank Club NFL day out to me. Except we don't do much cooking. I know from my point of view and from Pete and the four guys that we go with, it's a whole day out. But the football sometimes takes second stage. It's weird because we have such a good time meeting everybody, having a laugh. I mean, they set up kicking nets. I don't know if you've seen this, Danny.
Yeah, walking down in Wembley.
Through a hole. People have seen me put up Pete's pathetic attempts at trying to kick a field goal on our Twitter feed and all of that kind of stuff. And then you get inside and it's like, oh, actually, we got to watch a game. And we do bets and we do this and we do that. So whilst we enjoy the football side of it, that kind of is secondary to why we're there, because we want to mix with people and have fun and enjoy it all.
Yeah.
So it's kind of all mixed in. And I think that's where the NFL, if they brought a team, and I appreciate what you say, Scott, about them wanting to attract new fans, but I don't think the volume is there for them to attract new fans to a team, because everyone's got their team. And, I don't know, it's a hard one. I got another comment here from Mark. I'm a first generation 49ers fan, and this will be passed on, but the legacy is young, which is a very good point. And Mark, you are raising your family well there on the Isle of Wight, and it's good that you can join us. I will come over and see you when all this malarkey is over, and I can come over safely on a ferry and we'll drink some beer just for a change. It's weird. I don't know. I want an NFL team here, of course I do, because Christ, the Niners could play. It could be a thing. Like, let's say a team in the NFC West, which they won't, but let's say they did. I'd get to see the Niners all the time, and it could be the same for Danny.
Yeah.
And whoever, if they're in their division, you know that you're going to see your team every year, guaranteed. And to me, that's biscuits and gravy. I'd love to see the Niners here every year. Wouldn't, it's brilliant. But I don't know. It's I don't think the UK will really take to a franchise here, unfortunately, Danny.
I know what you mean in one way, but we had 4 games a season. Wembley's like nearly 100,000, so that's 200,000 tickets, and then Spurs Stadium's like 65,000, so that's like another 130,000 tickets, and that's every year. They sell out religiously, and I know pretty much everyone does have a team, but that's a lot of tickets to sell for an event. Do you not think people just go for the event? Like, people don't like boxing, people don't like UFC, but they go when it's close to them because it's something like sport.
And it's the same thing with me, right? I'm not a Giants fan, right? But I get Giants and Jets tickets all the time, even if the 49ers aren't playing. And I go just just because it's football, So, I mean, that also is a good point, Danny. Like, I've had to suffer through watching Jets and Giants games. I just basically go to watch the opponent more than anything. Like, hopefully it's somebody good.
Yeah, thing is, Jason, though, up in Hoboken, they give away Jets and Giants tickets, man.
You
knock on your door. We know this schmuck will go. Get him in.
What is it? There's a joke. There's a joke around here, right? So a guy leaves his 2 tickets on his windshield, right? He comes back in the morning and then there's 4 tickets. That's the joke for the Jets and Giants over here. So
Yeah, it's weird. It's weird. Right,
If
let's
you-
go through quickly because I know Jason's got to jump off. Jason, last week against the Pats, were you? I mean, I said 3-point game. I was not expecting what happened.
Right.
And I've had people say to me, "Oh, the Niners' defense wasn't that great. Cam Newton was still getting over COVID, and that's what we're putting it on." And to me, sorry, he was awful and deserved to be benched. And it wasn't anything to do with COVID or any of that. He was just straight up garbage.
So, I mean, here's the thing. Both can be true, right? The defense could play well and Cam could be off. Both can definitely be true. And that's what I was harping about all week. I was like, look, I don't know where the Patriots intend to get their points from. They have nobody who can threaten the 49ers down the field. Cam Newton has been even more inaccurate than he ever was. Aside from one game against Seattle, everything has been 175 yards passing. Like, I just didn't see how they could sustain points and drives. Now, you're right, Nick. I had it all week. An ugly game, 20-17. When I said ugly, I meant close. I didn't mean ugly like 33-6. I didn't see that. I think credit goes to Kyle Shanahan and Robert Saleh, man. They're lifting this team up with coaching. This has always been the point that I made about coaching and injuries, right? Injuries happen across the league, but the good coaches find ways to play the strengths and to get the most out of their players. And right now, Kyle Shanahan is doing that. He understands the limitations of the offense. He understands the limit, and Robert Saleh understands that you don't have Nick Bosa to rush the quarterback anymore, so you have to be more creative. And they're doing a great job, honestly. This was supposed to be the gauntlet. The 49ers, that Rams game wasn't as close as that score says. And then the Patriots in Foxborough to do that, even with Cam, is still something that needs to be said about that. And it's perfect going into this game right here. I just wish that Seattle would have won their game because I wanted to repay them for taking away our perfect season last year so we could take away their perfect season this year. By the way, spoiler alert, 49ers win this game 31-27, and Russell Wilson will have the ball in his hands at the end of the game, just like he always does, and it'll come down to the last drive.
Oof.
Yep. It's the way of the world. The way of the world with the 49ers and Seahawks. It comes down to the last drive every single time. Every time.
Do you know what I think is going to be massive is the fact that there aren't no 12s.
Yeah.
I think you cannot understate just how big no home field advantage is this week.
And also, I'm sorry, Nick, I didn't mean to cut you off. Also, Seattle has the 32nd worst pass defense. 32nd meaning worst in the league, hands down. And that 300-yard game that Cam Newton had was against the Seattle Seahawks. So there's a lot there. This is a perfect spot for Jimmy Garoppolo to go crazy all over these guys and get some confidence going, because Kyle Shanahan has really dialed up some perfect throws for him behind the line of scrimmage and getting his confidence back. You don't see, I'm tired of the narrative on Twitter. Oh, he can't throw the ball down the field. Who cares? Who cares? Are you guys interested in style points or do you guys want to win games? I don't care how we win. I don't care if Jimmy Garoppolo goes 0 for 0 with 0 yards. Win the game. And that's it. And Kyle Shanahan is throwing all of that out, not listening to us, thank God, on Twitter. Imagine that, a coach listening to the pundits on Twitter. But win the game. That's it. I don't care how you win. Win the game. Win the game. That's it. That's all that matters.
I think it's going to be a really, really interesting game this week. I think the Niners are on a bit of a roll. This is a statement game, I think, personally, as to where we are, not to how bad Seattle are or how good Seattle are. And yeah, I think it might mirror last season, not with the half-inch stop at the end of the game by Greenlaw to win it and stuff like that. But it's a statement game because everybody has written off the Niners, right? When they got absolutely trucked by Miami. And Aaron Donald was going to kill everyone and he was going to fucking murder the whole.
Who?
And, yeah, exactly.
Who?
Aaron who? Which, to me, I mean, that sums up how this team can bounce back with the way they neutralised that defence.
Yeah.
It wasn't even a factor, right? It wasn't. Right. And Donald, like what before him, was made to look ordinary by Shanahan and Salah on the defense. Just they weren't even a factor. And everyone, JJ Watt, he's a couple of years ago when they played them. JJ Watt's going to win. He's going to kill the right side of the line. He's going to do this. He's going to do that. And sorry, didn't happen.
See, but Kyle Shanahan did great things with the quick throws from shotgun, not letting him get to, like, Jimmy Garoppolo's jersey in that game was as white as it was when he first walked out. He was untouched. And the thing is that not only are those easy throws and extensions of the run game, it keeps Aaron Donald away. And that was super smart. Also, the offensive line has found their communication calls and found their nasty again. Like, Daniel Brunskill owns Aaron Donald. Like, he does. Like, for a little bit of background on Daniel Brunskill played in the AAF. If you guys remember that, right? Remember that was a thing for like 3 weeks, the AAF? Yeah. Right. He was from there. And last year, he locked up Aaron Donald when he had to face him one-on-one and everybody was nervous. And then the same thing happened this week. So, I mean, the line is getting their nasty back. Kyle Shanahan's in his bag with the way that he's using all these short throws. The running game is just as effective as ever. Jeff Wilson coming in there and destroying the Patriots after not touching the ball all season is just a testament to how well they can run the ball on anybody. And the Seahawks defense doesn't scare me. The 49ers are going to get 30 in this game easily. If they get any sort of turnovers or points off of turnovers, then we're talking about putting a 40 burger up. That's how bad Seattle's defense is. I don't care if Jamal Adams plays. I hope he plays. Just so you have no excuse, right? Like, I don't want to hear, Jamal Adams wasn't there. I don't care. He's not a cover corner. He's not a cover safety, and I want to see him try to match up on George Kittle because it's going to be really fun on the other side for us.
Well, you've only got to look at Stephen Gilmore last week. Thought he was going to run
the defensive player of the year. The defensive player of the year. That's not a decent cover corner. That's not a solid cover corner. That is the best corner in the league. My tight end routed him up and called him dog right before he did it.
What's up, dog?
What's up, dog? Run your route and put it on the film, baby. That's what my guy can do.
I just hope that, we can come out of this with the win and not be embarrassed, because I feel sick already, and it's building up and building up. And I watched Arizona Seahawks. I watched that this morning at about 4:00 in the morning. I watched the whole game, and I saw a lot of hope there.
No, there is. And the 49ers are going to lift a lot of what Arizona did at the end of that game. They have to.
I hate Kyler Murray.
Yeah. You do?
He's a little he's more of a little shit than Russell.
Hey, look.
He is a great player.
He is. He's a lot of fun to watch when he's not playing my team.
He's so different. Russell Wilson let Russell cook and all that. Some of those throws Wilson's making, holy shit. That is scary. And just this, if he doesn't, well, I'm going to say it now, if he doesn't win MVP, something's wrong. I can't. Can anyone else see a better MVP? If it stopped now, who would be a better MVP than Russell Wilson?
I know you're going to hate this answer. I know you're going to hate it. But, man, I think we got to start talking about Tom Brady a little bit right now for MVP. Come on. Listen. Look. 5 touchdowns this last week. I got to be honest with you. This Bucs team scares the daylights out of me, honestly, because they have a great defense now. They already had a front 7, and now they've added a secondary. And now you're talking about basically just replacing Jameis Winston with Tom Brady, and it's starting to click a little bit right now. But listen, it should be Russell. Russell's going to get his first MVP vote this year, but Tom Brady's in this discussion, I think, and it kills me to say that. It really does.
It kills me because I had absolutely no faith in the Bucs preseason. I thought adding two people is not going to do anything to that squad to make him a Super Bowl contenders. And I eat my words, absolutely buckled.
Me too.
Nothing, no defense on it. They're one of the best teams I've seen in quite a while. Even though Brady has thrown a few interceptions and some bad ones at that, and thought it was a 4th down when it was a 3rd down and the other way around and stuff. But when he's played well, he has played very, very good.
Right.
Unfortunately,
I had them at 9-7. That's not happening.
No.
So, like I mean, it's hard to believe that a guy 43 is still like all the talk about his deep ball being gone. It was there for a little bit, but I think he's kind of silencing that one deep ball at a time, man. It's strange, and what's crazy is that they're pushing the offense towards him now. And I think they're not, because with Jameis, Bruce Arians was fine with Jameis just throwing it all over the field. He didn't care if he was throwing picks. Now, Brady's not going to stand for that, and that's not how he wants to do it. So they've moved the offense towards him. But, yeah, I mean, Russell's going to get his votes. Right now, he's probably the front runner, but I just wanted to make sure that Tom Brady got at least a little bit of love, I think.
What about you, Scott? Who are you thinking? If the season ended now, who would be your MVP?
You would have to say Russell Wilson at this point. Although that Cardinals game, he had 3 bad interceptions and the one in overtime.
Well, I mean, that's one that Metcalf chased that. Is it Baby down? I mean, that was like me throwing it to Danny and then like gone the other way,
He, So I mean, it would be Russell Wilson right now if you had the vote. But this last game, and that's what's funny about the MVP race is because it changes because Russell Wilson has kind of a down week and Tom Brady throws 5 touchdowns and people start. I mean, the Buccaneers did lose to the Bears. I know Nick and I have been talking about this all season, but I'm not sold on Tampa Bay, man. Like, I don't know what it is. I've watched they lost to the Saints earlier in the year, and there's certainly no shame losing to the Saints, but I mean, the Saints aren't just your grandpa's Saints either. They lost to the Raiders as well.
Something about the Bucs I can't buy into. And very quickly round the horn, Antonio Brown, 4 games, over or under? Jason?
Over.
Danny?
Over.
Scott?
Who knows, man? That's something else, man.
He's a ticking time bomb.
He is. We talked about mental health day the other day. I think he's got some serious issues, and hopefully he's getting help with that, and he's gotten some help. But I don't know. I would say over, but that's not a confident over for me at all. I mean,
it could very well be 0. Like, that's the thing. I'm saying over because I'm hoping that conventional wisdom is finally taking over for him. This is your last shot. Tom Brady's going to put his arms around him and make sure that he doesn't do anything wrong. So that's the only reason. But you're right. It could be 0.
Probably got to pass him the ball. And if he's not passing him the ball, that's going to if he's passing it to him, that's going to upset Godwin. And that's going to upset the.
Here's the thing, though, right? So, like, the Bucs, I think, are doing a little bit of gamesmanship. All of a sudden, Chris Godwin's finger had just had surgery. Now he can't play, and then Brown's ready to go. So there's a little bit going on there, like as far as
is he suiting up this week?
Godwin's not Brown. Next week.
Next week, right? Okay, so we've got another.
Here's the other thing too: is Antonio Brown even good anymore?
I think he is. I mean, I think he is, but it depends on. See, look, what he has to do is he has to humble himself into the role, right? You're going to be the third. You're going to be the third option on this team, right? Mike Evans and Chris Godwin are there to stay. You're here to help them on this run. So, can you dial your ego back? Can you dial the fact back that you're not going to get your 150, 160 targets like you did when Ben just looked your way and threw you the ball every time? So, it's really going to be on him as far as his growth.
I think ego's got a lot to do with it as well, right? So I don't know. I think I want to see him do it for a few weeks before I think he's got anything to contribute to this team. Personally, I don't like the guy. I don't think he should be in the league. I said it last week.
That's a good point. That's a good point. Everybody always talks about players.
If Ray Rice got bummed out the league for what he did, and allegedly Antonio Brown has done a lot worse, why is Brown back in the league? And you could say the same about, and we spoke about this before, Scott, the ex-Kansas City running back who's now at the Browns. Kareem Hunt has done heinous things. Yet Ray Rice isn't in the league. Who was the fullback for the Niners that got bombed out as well? Because
Bruce Miller, but he's in the league. He's on Jacksonville. Ball keep him back.
He was bombed out the league for a few seasons, and then he all of a sudden came back.
Because Walkie brought him back.
And
Ray Rice made the mistake of having his incident when he was on the downhill of his career, and that's all it is.
No, is it there?
Like-
Yeah, this way. Him. What he said for sure. What he said.
He was starting to.
Yeah, but what he said,
starting
he's
to
absolutely right.
decline, and you're not going to put up with nonsense. It's just there's this balance of how much nonsense you're going to put up with and how good are you.
Right.
And that's what teams are going to do.
I think he hit the nail on the head.
The better you are, the more nonsense they're going to put up with.
He hit the nail on the head. Like the reward for Antonio Brown is worth the risk, and that's what the Bucs are telling you right now. And them doing that, they're telling you what they think about their chances to compete this year. They dismantled the Packers, right? And everybody thought that the Packers were going to be this top 2 team. The Packers look exactly like the team that the 49ers washed out 2 times last year. Same exact team. That when things get hard, they fold up. They fold up. So at the top of the NFC, who are we really talking about at this point? It's just Seattle really at this point, and it's like the Bucs. Everybody else is like in this area of like, well, we'll see. The Rams, the Saints, like it's just like, we don't know. So I mean, right now the only thing that we really do know is that the Bucs have a really good defense for once in their lives, and Seattle's up there with them. So it's just scary, man. Like all they have to do is roll perfectly into the playoffs. It's not about, and with no home field advantage, it's all about just getting into the dance at this point. Just get in and just take it from there.
Yeah.
Definitely.
I gotta hop off, Nick.
I was just going to say the same, actually.
No, that's fine. Before we go, let's pick 2 games very quickly. Go round the horn. Niners, Seahawks. Jason?
31-27 Niners.
Danny?
31-27 Seahawks.
Honestly, you're going to get it on Twitter. Scott?
I think it's 30-20, 30-21 Seahawks. I think the 49ers have their hands full. This isn't the Patriots and this isn't the Rams. They're on another level than those teams. But I don't see a blowout, but I think Seahawks win for sure.
5 touchdowns for Jimmy G against this shitty defense.
Oh
Niners.
my God.
Right, one more before I let you 2 go. Very, very quickly. Steelers, Ravens.
What a game. What a game. Man, you know what? Give me the Steelers. And this is because of the defense. Last week, Ben is so horribly close to washed. Like, I don't care what the stats say. I really don't. That interception was awful at the end of the game. And after the Titans adjusted to him, he didn't adjust back. So, but when you have all of these defensive guys, they have guys that can keep Lamar Jackson contained. The Steelers defense is the equalizer, man. They have the formula. The defense is going to pound them out, and Ben's going to do just enough to score for them, and I think that they win this game too. Is it in Pittsburgh? If it's in Pittsburgh, then no doubt in my mind.
I'm not sure. I don't know if it's at the Heinz Stadium or I'm not sure, to be honest.
I'll tell you right now. If it's in Pittsburgh, then there's no doubt in my mind. But I mean, it doesn't really matter. Oh, it's at Baltimore. It doesn't matter. Fans are barely any fans are going to be there. But I've got the Steelers this week. It's going to be one of those rough games. It'll be 24-21 Steelers.
Excellent. Jason, I'll let you go. Really appreciate
Thank you, guys. I just got to go trick-or-treating.
So, enjoy your trick-or-treating. Don't steal any of your daughter's candy.
I'm stealing it all.
For your man, if you do. You know that, right?
Yeah.
Jason, take care, man.
Take it easy, Jason.
Danny.
Right. My quick one will be, and purely based on me being stubborn, I went for Ravens to win the Super Bowl at the start of the season in the off season. So I'm going to stick with Ravens. Score-wise, I'm not too sure, but I'm being stubborn and sticking to my guns. Even though I'd say Steelers on form, I'm going to say Ravens just because of, I don't know, something about them.
I think someone has got Pittsburgh have been very, very close to losing a few games. And I think one might push them over the edge. Scott, who are you going for?
I'm going to pick the Ravens. It's a coin flip, though, to me. So I could pick the Steelers and just as easily as I could pick the Ravens. You look at the Tennessee game against the Steelers last week, and the Steelers were dominating, and then all of a sudden here comes Tennessee back. They, the Steelers, it's just hard to tell, like Jason was saying, Ben Roethlisberger, just how much he has left, and that defense looks good. But as far as the offense and the playmaking and them being able to, they haven't faced an offense or a running game or someone like Lamar Jackson and the Ravens yet either. So it's going to be a tough, like I said, tough game for both teams. I'm going to lean Ravens, but I could lean Steelers just as easily.
Yeah, it's going to be. I think it's going to definitely be a coin flip. Danny, I know you got to go. Your wife's come home or your girlfriend.
Literally, getting my head pecked. But thank you for having me, lads. And,
Danny's girlfriend, wife, whoever. Yeah. So blame me. Everyone else is. I hope you didn't take me to school too much because I'm a clown, Danny.
No.
Man, stay in touch.
Will do, mate. Will do. Thanks, Rob. See you later. See you, lads.
Take it easy, Danny.
Okay, so it's you and me, Scott. I've just had a message from Jeff. Hang on 1 second. I just need to. I think he said he was going to try and come on, which is good. Yeah. So Steelers Ravens. It's a tough one to call. I want the Ravens to win because having to deal with Pete being a Steelers fan at work is quite unbearable. It's going to be a close game. I think last week they got away with one because I think if it had gone to overtime, that's Derrick Henry time, right? And they kind of dodged a bullet. And it's an interesting game. But we all know, right? The Ravens' problem is if they get behind, if they go 14 behind or even 10, they have a problem. If they get behind in this game, it could be a problem. I'm not expecting, more than 3 points possibly. But I'd like to think if the Ravens think that they are going to challenge the Chiefs, because I still think the AFC Championship is going to be the Ravens and Chiefs. They've got to come out and prove to themselves that they can if they get behind, and that's quite a big problem for me with the Ravens. I think we've seen it far too many times with them. They can't do it in a big spot, right?
Yeah, that's their thing. Like they're front runners and they get out and they get ahead. The Ravens do, and that's how they win their games. And if they get behind, they've been toast. So, which if you look at the Tennessee game, the Steelers got out to an early lead on them last week. And if the Ravens do that, that's it's not to say that they're never going to come back from being down again to win a game, but you wouldn't bet on it at this point. So I don't know. The Steelers, I don't know how sold I am on them. They're kind of like in that Tampa Bay range to me. I just keep kind of expecting them to fall off a little bit. But, I don't know. It should be an interesting game for sure. So
do you think, and I've floated this since probably week 1 or 2, Ben is a game manager now with the odd. I mean, you were on last week and saw the bet what Pete and I had over a 40 yards in the air pass. I don't think 7 of his were going to ever make that yard. Do you see? He's like an Alex Smith, for instance, at the Niners, because he was a game manager, but he managed to get it done. It's all underneath and intermediate. There's no real bombs anymore from Big Ben. Whether that's because he's got a bum arm or it's his elbow or I don't know. It just doesn't seem like he's as he was. And any long passes, which is, to me, for Big Ben, is really, really strange. What do you think? Do you think he's changed? Do you think he's injured? Is it, or is Mike Tomlin done back? Because he's obviously got the weapons.
I think he's got
the combination of age, and also he had that elbow injury and he had surgery. And when you get older, it gets harder to recover from things. And sometimes when you tear something or break something, it just doesn't come back the way it was before. So, yeah, I think he's older, and I think he's still suffering from the after effects of that surgery and that injury.
I think you, yeah. To me, I think that is a point. And I know a lot of Steelers people, and I know Pete points it out. Oh, he's this, he's that, but he's not the same. And it's I mean, Tom Brady, as we've discussed, he's still throwing it. He's airing it out, right? And you've noticed the regression of Drew Brees this year to a certain extent, and also, the older they get, apart from Tom Brady, the harder it seems to be that person that can launch the ball. And I definitely think that has affected their game plan, possibly. I don't know. It's hard to put my finger on whether it's a game plan thing or it's protecting Ben, but it is kind of restricting them because, the Steelers have been known for airing the ball out and running the ball hard. They're not this dink and dunk, which they've become.
Yeah, they're not the same team. Ben Roethlisberger's not the same. He's been in the league, what, 12 years now, 10 years? I mean, he's not a spring chicken.
Been there a lot. He's been there a long time, definitely.
Yeah, he's not a spring chicken. And it's just, you're starting to see that with them. And it's working though, what they're doing. They're coaching around it, and they're finding a way to win games.
That's my point. They are somehow finding a way to win. Mark, City Boy 100, if you are watching, I have just sent you the link. If you want to hop on and talk some football, please feel free to do so. Coach Jeff is going to jump on very, very soon. He's going to, but apparently, I don't know if anyone's seen Jeff's. If anyone follows Jeff on Twitter, he was in, I can't think where he was, Texas somewhere, and they commandeered an ambulance for some reason, and they got back to wherever they were going, and they hijacked an ambulance, and they put the sirens on and things like that. So he might be busy still doing that. Who knows? But hopefully he'll come on. But yeah, that defense is going to carry Pittsburgh a long way. Can they carry them all the way? Couple of injuries. I mean, you've already seen Devin Bush has gone, and that did change the middle last week. I don't know. I'm still not convinced. I'm convinced by a lot of teams, but I'm not convinced by Pittsburgh yet. They win this week, you kind of think that maybe they are legit. But again, a couple of injuries happen to their defense. It kind of evens up the playing field with the other teams. Could you see Pittsburgh going into Kansas City in the AFC Championship game and winning, Scott? I know you will give a rounded answer, not be a homer, not like me, because I'd be a total homer, and you're the voice of reason. So reason away.
They're going to have to score points, and defense just isn't something that, it just doesn't carry teams to championships anymore. The league is built around offense. The rules are slanted for the offense. And you saw, in the playoffs last year, the teams that scored points, even your Niners, the defense got them there, but they ran the ball and they scored points to get there. And when it came down to the Super Bowl, what came down to the end was the offense versus the defense, and the offense ended up winning out. So I just don't. And I watched the Chiefs for years try to win championships like that with the defense and an aged or mediocre quarterback. And it's an uphill battle for sure. So I don't know. I would give the Steelers, I don't know. I mean, I think it would probably be a 30% chance of winning that game against the Chiefs, especially if it was here in Kansas City. I know the home field advantage is down this year, but they're talking about having fans back in the stadiums more towards the end of the year, and maybe having back to capacity or a larger capacity for the playoffs, which is obviously going to have an impact.
And that's just that's Scott. That's just cheating now. So you don't need your fans in Arrowhead for regular season. Then all of a sudden, when the shit gets serious, all of a sudden it will go from 5,000 to 55,000, and then there you go, home field. I'm guessing that the how many people can be in the stadium is due to obviously COVID restrictions. And what is the COVID sort of?
And if they have a vaccination by then, and you know that it's just really funny. It's one of those weird things where you don't know. You see some places, and some places say, "Oh my God, we need to shut back down." And then you read other journals and other news outlets that say that we're, you know, and President Trump saying we're right in the corner, and we have a vaccine right around the corner, and we have these treatments and therapeutics. And, you know, if we can wear masks, if the masks work, why can't you have people going to sporting events? So I don't know. I think they're anticipating by January, by playoff time, that maybe, you know, cases will have been on the decline instead of the incline. And again, like I said, with treatments and with a vaccination around the corner, I think that's, you know, is what's driving that, as far as having more fans in attendance as the season goes on and into the playoffs. But, you know, it's just one of those things where you know, you might not need it. You might not need home field advantage. The Chiefs have obviously played pretty well. They lost that game at home to the Raiders. Whether or not you want to say that was impacted by the lack of fans being in attendance or not, but it's not going to hurt, right? I mean, you could be good and, oh, hey, by the way, here comes your home field advantage back and crowd noise and fans being at the games. So, I mean, it could help. It couldn't hurt. But yeah, I look at it, and I mean, I think right now, if you look at the AFC, you know, you've got Tennessee, you've got the Steelers, you've got the Ravens, and you got the Chiefs. The Browns, I think you saw with them, they struggled against the Bengals, and then they got shellacked by the Steelers. So I'm not sold on the Browns in the AFC yet. So I think those are your four teams, and I think if you had to rank them in order, you would probably go Tennessee at the bottom, and then you could put the Ravens or the Steelers at second and third. You could interchange those, and the Chiefs at the top. I know people are going to say the Steelers are undefeated, and maybe, you know, they should be at the top of the AFC because of that. But I think when you look at some of the games, having beaten the Bills, having beaten the Ravens already, we're going to find out with the Steelers and Ravens. I think a lot's going to be figured out, and a lot's going to be learned and proven out this weekend in that game. So that's kind of where I look at it at this point.
Definitely. Mark, Mr. Ryler, what is up?
How are you guys? You all right?
Doing well, mate. Do you like my new tip? Can you see that?
Oh, look at that.
The Yak Brothers. Courtesy of 49ers Hive. Great shirt. I'll tell you what, I sent you a again, I know you were up early with your son.
Yes.
Niners with attitude. I've ordered some, and again, hopefully my wife don't watch this because I had to smuggle loads of bits in. She hasn't seen this, luckily. Well, she might do. Two great pieces from them. Niners with attitude. They got this really nice sort of camo-y style hoodie and an NWA, because I like with attitude the rap group anyway. So I'm killing two birds with one stone.
Good sales pitch.
I'm not on commission, like I'm not with Pick Six Apparel. Talking of Pick Six Apparel, actually, for people that are watching, when we reach 500 500 followers on YouTube, I'm going to do a competition that's going to be open to all for a £25 voucher for Pick Six Apparel, which will be a random draw, because apparently you can get random draw machines. I don't know, it's far too technical for me. But we will be having, when we reach 500 followers on Twitter, I will do a £25 voucher to use at Pick Six Apparel. They've got some great stuff over there. All teams, personalised, Shank Club NFL, that's where we get our stuff from. So I'm going to be doing that. I will put that out on Twitter as we go along. Quick question, actually, Mark, while you're here, and we can all chime in on this. Any thoughts on Buffalo? Now, I'll let you lead off on this one, Mark, if you've just joined, and then we'll have Scott, and then I'll chime in at the end. What are your thoughts on Buffalo?
Inconsistency, I think, is probably a good way to describe it at the moment. Now, sometimes I watch them. I think they look decent. They look a team that I can enjoy watching. I think they're a good team that can hurt teams on the offense, and then they let themselves down, don't they? And and it's a team that may just make the playoffs, but I'm not sold on them. I'm not sold on a Buffalo at all, and it's just purely because it's just their inconsistency that they just can't seem to hold the lead when they've got it properly, and their defense. Again, I'm not sold, if I'm honest with you, and that's my honest answer in the sense it just doesn't. I don't know yourself there, but not convinced.
What about you, Scott? If you've seen any of them, what's your kind of impression of how Buffalo have gone so far?
Their defense has been declining as the season has gone on and has been suspect. And they're kind of one of those teams that if Josh Allen is on, they're going to be really good and they're going to be tough to beat. But when he's not on, they're just mediocre. I don't know Josh Allen. He had a hot start to the season and was throwing for a lot of touchdowns, but he's cooled off here recently. When the Chiefs played him, there was some inclement weather and it was kind of hard to see, but he was overthrowing guys and was not sharp. I'm not a big Josh Allen fan. I'm not one of these. I'm not someone who thinks that you see NFL quarterbacks, they get drafted and they start playing and they have accuracy issues. Lamar Jackson's right in there with Josh Allen to me. Once you get to that point, I don't think you're going to improve passing the ball that much as far as when accuracy, especially downfield deep passing. Josh Allen can throw the ball a long way, but he's not the most accurate. I don't see quarterbacks going to another level all that often once they've reached the NFL. I think you kind of know who they are and they can improve with some decision making and things like that, the mental part of the game. But when it comes to the physical part of the game, when it comes to accuracy and passing the ball and throwing deep downfield, I just don't. I can't remember the last quarterback that got to the NFL and was not that accurate, all of a sudden became really accurate. So I think they're kind of in that second tier. We talked about maybe Tennessee and the Ravens and the Chiefs and the Steelers. And I think they're maybe down there in a tier down there with the Browns and the Bills, teams that could challenge for a wild card, might be able to make some noise if they play well and they can sneak up on somebody or win a game or two here in the playoffs. But I don't see them as really serious challengers for the AFC like a lot of people maybe thought coming into the year and after the first 3 or 4 games.
Yeah, definitely.
Well, they only beat the Jets by 8, didn't they? You think about the Jets. Jets are kind of almost the whipping boys, aren't they, at the moment? Not the best, and they're beaten by 8. That kind of, to me, sums up where they are now, is that, yeah, they can pull a result out. Nice. But they're not convincing. And, they give up 10 points to, an awful offense of the Jets. Yeah, and they only score 18. That kind of sums up pretty much where everything's got then there. That is the team where they are. They're not massive contenders in my eyes, and I think that's where they might how the playoffs are this season. They might scrape in there, but they won't do anything beyond that.
Started off this season smoke and mirrorsy, didn't they? They masked a lot of it, and their defense, as Scott said, have got steadily worse as the season's gone on, to a point now where even when I listen to like the Around the NFL podcast and things, they're not high on the Bills because of that defense. Josh Allen again has flashed, and I was worried when the Niners were going to go and play Buffalo. Now, watching some of the highlights of the Buffalo, now not so much, and it's not because the Niners have improved or anything like that, but I think schedule has a lot to do with how teams play, right? Because you've only got to look at the Steelers' second easiest schedule with a few harder games dotted in. You could say Cleveland, but they got blown out. They were lucky last week. What's going to happen this week? So schedule has a lot to do with it. And yeah, I'm with you, Mark. I'm not well, with both of you. I'm not really sold on the Bills. I was for the first couple of weeks after watching them and the way Josh Allen was playing, but he's kind of regressed a bit. The offense has regressed. The defense has definitely got worse. So,
and I think it's an interesting point. That's why you talk about schedule and the Steelers, yeah? So you think about the 49ers trip to Super Bowl last year, okay? Look at the games and how close the games were, against the Seahawks, obviously. We were battle ready, yeah? Steelers, yeah, it's all very nice. They've got this nice run going and it's all very, people hate me for saying this, obviously, but you need that tough game, yeah? You need the games where, it literally is down to the last kick, the last play to actually get yourself ready for the playoffs. Because I tell you what, you get to the playoffs, different ball game.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, excuse me. You could say that about a lot of teams that, kind of peak too early, if you like, and then get to the playoffs and get waxed because, as you say, it's a lottery. Once you get into the playoffs, it's a different game, and it's best team wins. And I think certainly last year, the Niners and the Chiefs were the best two teams in the AFC and the NFC, and obviously they went to the Super Bowl. And I mean, this year's different because, you've got the Steelers at 6-0. Are they going to run the table? I doubt it. You've got Kansas City that could still lose a few games. You've got the Ravens that could. So the Niners can lose a few. It's, the Rams have been shown that they can lose. You've got the Bears, who are the worst team with their record. Sorry, Claire, but it's true. There's been no real improvement with Nick Foles coming in at QB. And they now can't go back to Mick, but he's garbage anyway. So they're kind of stuck between a rock and a hard place. Their defense kind of carried them, and then they got found out. So it's a very strange league this year, purely because nobody can. And any given Sunday, it is thrown about quite a lot. But you watch some of these games, it's like the Niners Pats. There was no way I was going to go, do you know what? They're absolutely going to school the Patriots. And I don't care that the Patriots had this, that, and the other. You've got the GOAT coach currently in the league. And sorry, I've just got to hang on here. I've just got to interject. Here he is, the ambulance stealer.
What's up, fellas?
Hi, Coach.
Hey, Jeff.
How you doing? How's everybody doing back in the UK?
Yeah, we're good over here. How are you over there?
I'm doing good. We're coaching a little football. We got there's a thing called the Spring League, which is it's crazy because we're playing in the fall, but it's called the Spring League. It's actually a league of fringe NFL kids, guys have been in camp, been cut, XFL guys, whatever. And it's an opportunity for them to showcase their skills and play a little five-game season. And then for us coaches, it's like a reunion of, ex-NFL guys and, guys that have been around, and some of them retired and some of them, just want to coach a little ball. So it's been fun.
What coaches have you got there with you, Jeff, at the moment? Who else?
Well, you
is
got
it?
like on defense with me, Brad Miller, who coached 4 years with the Packers, is here coaching the defensive line, and then he's been in the CFL for a number of years. Myself and Mike Singletary, the legendary Hall of Famer from the Chicago Bears, is here coaching with us, and Jeff Jagodzinski, who's been with, Jeff's been with the Falcons, the Bucks, and the Green Bay Packers. So we're loaded with NFL guys.
Jeff, can I be really cheeky? Can you see if you can get Mike Singletary just to step on and say hello? Would that be really cheeky?
Yeah, let me see. Mike. This is a big San Francisco 49er fan from the UK that wanted to say hello. You guys are with a Hall of Famer now, Mike Singletary.
Mike.
How you doing?
Hey, Coach.
You are my man. How are you?
I'm doing well. Hope you guys are doing well. I'm enjoying your guy here. He's teaching me a lot of stuff.
I don't think that's the case. Mike, thank you for everything you did when you were with the Niners. I love you. You're an NFL legend. Chicago Bears, 85 Bears. Thank you very much just for popping on and saying hello. I really appreciate you. Thank you very much.
Thank you. I appreciate it. God bless.
See, I told you we bring the Hall of Famers. We don't fool around here now.
Jeff, you never cease to amaze me by what you do for us. And Jesse Sapolo we've had on with his 2 Super Bowl rings, and now you've got one of the greatest ever players ever to play, number 50, Mike Singletary. Jeff, couple of quick things because I know it's very quick because you're busy. Niners Seahawks. Who are you going for?
Well, you know what? I picked the Niners in this, and it's hard to pick against Russell Wilson, but I watched the Seahawks game against the Cardinals last week, and that defense just, they're not very good yet, and they can't rush the passer, and I think that the Niners are starting to heal up a little bit. And their ability to run the ball, I think that's what's going to be the difference. I think they'll run the ball on Seattle. They'll keep the ball away from Russell Wilson, and this have been these games have been great in this series. I think this will be another great football game. The key to me is, will Jimmy Garoppolo make enough plays to win the game? Because you know that Russell Wilson can make enough plays to win the game, but can Jimmy G be consistent enough and play a clean enough game to win the football game?
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I think they're gonna run the ball down Seattle's throat, and they are gonna have the play action and the little dump off passes and things like that. And I agree with you. I mean, last week Jimmy G's 2 interceptions spoiled a great performance without any touchdowns because everyone sort of didn't think he could do it, and I think this week he may come out and actually show a few people he can. But I still think we're going to run the ball down their throat. We'll control, as you say, keep Russell Wilson off the field because we know what Russell can do. Mark, what are your thoughts, quick?
I love it that we've gone back to basics from last year. Yeah, running the ball, taking time off the clock, and then getting up to perfect. You think Kittle back on there. Warner's had a great, couple of games. That's been massive for us on his defense. I think Shanahan is the master, isn't he? He's the master of tactics, looking at how we can play to our strengths. And I love he's not using excuses about injuries. Yeah, he's next man up. How can we make that person do it? And I think, like saying to yourself there, Nick, I think we're going to run the ball. I think we're going to run the ball a lot. And we're going to protect Jimmy, like we have done a couple of days. 2 games ago, his shirt wasn't even dirty. They protected Jimmy really well. And I think by doing the run game, and taking time off the clock, that will keep the ball out of Wilson's hands, and that'll give us a chance to win.
Fellas, I got to run. I got to run to a meeting. It's great to be with you guys, even if it was only for a minute. Keep doing what you're doing. Love the Shan Club.
Listen, Jeff, you've got Mike Singletary on again. Amazing. I don't know how you do it. Stealing ambulances, getting him on.
We're just getting started. We're going to bring you a star-studded cast all year.
Love you, Jeff. Take care. Love to all your family. Take it easy. Be safe, bro.
Guys.
Take care, Jeff.
Bye, Jeff.
Mike Singletary. I mean, seriously, I take the piss, and he brings Mike Singletary on. I mean, I don't know. I whether it's because I'm cheeky, I don't know, but who cares?
Take the win.
Jeff is just, I mean, and it's going to be a bit of gushing praise. I tried to get Jeff on this show, and you know what it's like with Twitter. You tweet, you could tweet Jimmy Garoppolo, you can tweet this, you can tweet that, you tweet all these other people, and you never get answers. They never follow you. I mean, I find it hard sometimes to get people to come on here from other teams. They just ignore you and stuff like that. And I kept on at Jeff, please follow me because I'd like you to come on UK show. We're just starting. And I must have bugged him, I don't know, for 2 months. And then all of a sudden, he kind of must have seen my tweet at the right time. He must have been in between whatever, followed me. And I sent him a direct message and said, Jeff, new show. We're trying to get launched. Would you come on, even if for 5 minutes, and talk to us? No answer, no answer, no answer. And, I carried on, just liking his tweets, going on his coffee with Coach and sending in messages. And all of a sudden, out of the blue, I woke up one morning and I had a direct message. And I thought, what bloody hell's this? Because normally Scott bothers me in the middle of the night. And then I just go, well, but that's another story. And it was a thing I'd love to come on. This is my time zone. Can we do something? I'd love to come on because obviously he's got I don't know if you know Scott, but Jeff has got a massive following in the UK. He's on our Sky NFL platform, which is the main, like Fox, if you like, or ESPN over here, that is the main people that cover Sky.
After he was on the show that first time we were on there with him, I kind of went and checked out his bio and looked at his website and went on Sky Sports. So
So he's a big deal in this country, right, Mark?
100%. And to honest, what I love about him, he interacts with the fans. Yeah, if you think about how many celebrities out there, how many people have the fame, he does take time to respond to tweets, which I think is amazing. He interacts with the fans, and he gets the British fans and what we are going through to understand the game, we really get involved, have our teams, the kind of atmosphere we get at the grounds, when we do the London games. He probably is the hardest working kind of, like, I suppose, pundit within the UK NFL, if I'm honest with you.
But the NFL UK scene, he's the hardest working man in show business. And, I was amazed when he said he would come on for that show that he did. And he stayed, and he was there for the whole hour and a half, hour, 45 minutes, whatever it was. And afterwards, he sent me a message and said, I really, really enjoyed it. I want to be part of it. I'm probably going to be going back on Sky at Thanksgiving, but I'll give you 10, like today, I'll give you 5 minutes, 10 minutes. But I want to be part of the Shank Club, which to me was like, and I said to Pete, I was like, he goes, I can't understand why he likes us. I said, because we're not stuffy. We're not, we don't take ourselves seriously, but we like to talk football and we don't care who comes on. We don't care who we insult. They insult us back. And that's just the way football is. And then obviously, Jesse went on his Coffee with Coach show. And again, I think I caught Jesse just at that right time on Twitter that he saw my tweet. And again, so I said, we spoke on Coffee with Coach with Jeff and blah, blah, blah. Please follow me because I'd love you to come on our show. And then within 3 minutes, Jesse followed Shank Club. And then I messaged him and said, look, I want you on, blah, blah. Well, you've seen the show. He wants to come back in on week 12. I've spoken to him since. He's definitely committed to coming back on here week 12 to go over the Niners, the NFL. And, and as I said to Pete when we were talking about doing this kind of thing, it started off just a thing where me and Pete were we thought, fuck it, we'll just come on YouTube, we'll go live, No one watches us. We'll take the piss out of each other. He'll talk Steelers. I'll talk Niners. If someone joins, all well and good. You know, it wasn't going to be anything that it's became. And the further on we get down the road, the you know, I know he and sometimes we look at how many people we get viewing it. To me, I don't care. If no one watches this, it doesn't bother me. I've got Mark on, I've had Jason on, I've had Danny on, I've got Scott on, and we're talking ball, right? So to me, I don't the viewer thing isn't that important. It's more who can I get on that's going to be interesting, who wants to talk. And I think you agree, Mark, that Jesse thing was just mind blowing. What he told us, showing the rings, the John Candy thing, you know, all that kind of stuff. You know, I've got Graham Park, the DJ. I'm going to be doing a show with him to talk about lockdown and just, you know, all that. And this kind of show, doing this, helped me through so much when everything was going so wrong over here. And I kind of think that I talk a load of shit. I get that, and I'm Niners and that, but I don't care because it's my show and I can talk, and I really don't care whether people interpret it or not, if I'm honest. But yeah, I mean, Jeff, he's a superstar. I can't begin to think why he would even want to come on with a couple of twits that just talk shit, basically. And it's just amazing that every time he knows Saturday's coming up, he'll send me a message, send me the link. If I can come on, I will. And again, today, Singletary.
Yeah. I mean, I think it's also brilliant. You brought all different fan groups together, haven't you? And that's the beauty about it. You know, a bunch of people who love the game from UK, in the States, and it just could have brought, I suppose, everyone's going through whatever they're going through. You know, different sides of the pond. You know, we obviously have another lockdown here again, whatever's going on. But the one thing we can do and enjoy is talking about football, talk about the love of the game. You know, have something to look forward to on a Sunday. Yeah, and then as they take the piss out of each other, how our team's gone. You know, okay, we love taking the piss out of Pete, but he's enjoyed life at the moment because of just how well the Steelers doing. But he's gonna have a time. He's gonna have a time.
I said at the beginning of the show, obviously he's not with us today because he is going through some personal stuff. So I am sending love out to Pete. You've seen his tweets. You know what's Mark. And, you know, once I get off the show, I am going to send him a message, see if he wants to have a chat, just make sure he's okay. I know he's worried about a second lockdown over here. Me, I'm a bit blasé about it from the point that I did the first one. It was 3 months. I mean, he worked through it. So I think that's kind of having an effect on him because I know how hard it was for him being where he was in that office and dealing with what he had to deal with, and now he kind of may have to deal with that again. Whether you end up being how it was in March, who knows? Only time will tell.
I think everyone said they'd love that, to him, don't they? In the sense of everyone gets on really well, has a bit of banter, but I suppose, and I've said that to him through Twitter as well, DM's always open. If anyone's going through it, just want to have a quick chat. We've all gone through whatever we've gone through, different circumstances, and we're all there for each other one way or the other, and Pete knows that. Well, I've certainly said that to him anyway, through Twitter privately.
The thing with Pete, he'll get all serious, and then, oh look, you've got a junior with you. Who's that, Scott? Brooke.
Brooke.
How are you? Hello from England, Brooke. How are you?
Good.
Are you in Scott talking football there?
I'm in kindergarten.
Are you? Is Scott your teacher?
Miss Heisey.
It's who, sorry?
Miss Heisey.
Miss Heisey.
Miss Heisey.
Okay.
This is my little niece. She's a little Chiefs fan, aren't you?
Mm-hmm. Can we convince you to be a 49ers fan? No. Yeah. Yeah, sure, maybe.
Yeah, there was a bit of wavering there, Scott. The family line, something happened with it there.
As long as she doesn't turn out to be a Broncos or a Raiders fan, we're good, I think.
Yeah, I think you're probably right there.
I'm probably
Scott, sorry. Mark, what is your prediction for the Niners? Going to Seattle.
I think we're going to win it by 3. Yeah, and I think it's going to be every single game we've played against Seahawks. Yeah, it's been to the last kick, and it'll be a field goal kick. Yeah, and we'll win it on that, and we'll give a bit of revenge for that first game last year. Yeah, where they did it to us. You know, I think for us, it's going to be win by 3, extremely nerve-wracking night, and a late one for us.
Yeah, 9:25, obviously UK kickoff. I want to say I'm not going to drink, but I think the closer it gets, the worse it's going to get, and the tension builds.
But Wilson will get picked. He will get picked a couple of times because he likes to put it in the air. I think we've got a game plan. I think, you know, I just listened to you guys earlier, MVP and all that, and yeah, he is, but he likes to take risks as well. And I think that could fall in our hand. That he might air it a little bit too much, maybe a bit more confidence, and I think that could be our opportunity.
I think our corners are playing really well, and Verrett won't get comeback player of the year, but I think he should be in consideration for it, considering this is his first, I don't know how many game stretch for the last couple of years. And I don't think he'll be in consideration for it. I think Alex Smith should win it, whatever. Even if he got sacked and killed and whatever, I don't care. I've got a sneaky feeling that they can go in there after last year and do it again, but not be as close. You've always got to fear Russell Wilson. They've got he's at running back. Their defense is trash. Metcalf, basically, they got 3 weapons: Metcalf, Wilson, and Lockett. That's it. They got no running game.
And I suppose you take it back to, you know, the conversation you have earlier about the fans and no fans, yeah? And I suppose that's going to be massive. But, and I'll take it to what, you know, UK soccer premiership. You think look, some of the results have happened this season because of there's no fans, no home advantage. That to me has been massive for soccer, and has been massive around you know, in NFL and some of the results this season. And I think, yeah, some grounds may have 3 or 4, 5 or 10,000, whatever, but nowhere near the kind of power that, you know, normally you would have had to go into Seattle. You're thinking that's tough. I think that could play in our favour for this game.
Yeah, I mean, any team, right? You've only the best 2 supported teams, or the loudest teams in the NFL, are obviously KC and the 12s. Well, the 12s previous to 2010, me and you could have made more noise than them, but that's a different story. But it's in the home field is important, and it doesn't affect good teams if they can play without that, because they're going to hear the calls, they're going to hear the cadence, they're going to hear everything. So, you know, it's kind of any away to, it's their game to lose, whether you're good or bad. That, you know, taking the crowd out of things is a big thing this year. And I think it's underplayed quite a lot in certain stadiums because the crowd might not be loud. And I mean, you could say that about Levi's 3 or 4 years ago. Yeah. It was a problem. The same with the Rams in the Coliseum when the Niners play at the Rams. It was all Niner fans. The same as at, not San Diego, the LA games, you know, the LA Chargers, excuse me. They had no home field advantage, even when the stadium was filled. So it's a weird one. What do we all think about going totally full circle? Justin Herbert, Rookie of the Year, possibly.
I like him. I you know, again, he's taking risks. He can run. I think he's got everything. I think he's got everything in the game that you were looking for in a quarterback. Yeah, he's making some naive mistakes, but which rookie doesn't? I'm sure Holmes did that. I didn't see him, the first season as much, but I'm sure he did that. They're learning a trade. But I tell you what, Burrow. Everyone's talked about Burrow being number one pick, and I think he's done okay in a very poor team. I think he's come in, and I think he's done really well. I mean, Scott, I don't know about your thoughts, and you probably see it a bit more than myself. But from what I've seen, I like what I see.
Yeah, no, he's really good. He's made some really difficult throws. He's, you mentioned the rookie mistakes, and that's just being a rookie. Mahomes didn't play his rookie year. He sat behind Alex Smith for his entire rookie season, and he kind of got to learn from him. So that helped him when his first year playing was really his second year in the league. So he didn't necessarily have some of the mistakes that some of these other guys have when they're, playing in their actual true rookie year. But Joe Burrow's looked really good. Especially when you consider the duress he's always under, and he has no protection, and he really doesn't have much help there. I'd say it's a toss up between those two right now. I don't know if people are going to factor in the fact that, the Chargers, he's only won one game. Justin Herbert has. I know Burrow hasn't won a bunch of games, but he's won a couple. And I would say it's a race between those two right now. I don't know. Joe Burrow, he did just have a 400-yard passing game against the Browns, which is impressive no matter who you are. But I don't think he necessarily has the mobility. Justin Herbert's shown that he can get out of the pocket, make plays, which is when you look at a lot of these Mahomes and Russell Wilson and these guys, the new age of quarterback or whatever they want to call them, they run around, make plays in and out of the pocket. They can scramble, they can move around, they're mobile. I think teams like to go to that. So, Justin Herbert looks really good. He's made a couple of passes that look like Patrick Mahomes passes where he's got a defender in his face and he's falling backwards and he chucks it 40, 50 yards downfield, hits the guy right in stride, right on the money, perfect pass. He's looking good. You look at the AFC West and the Chiefs' opponents, and Denver has Drew Lock and Derek Carr at the Raiders, and I don't think anybody expected Justin Herbert to be the closest to Mahomes, but I think he's definitely been better than Drew Lock. And while Carr's had a better season so far this year, I kind of expect him to regress back to what he's been in his first few years in the league here, especially last year and the year before, where he was just okay, not great. But Justin Herbert, if you're a Chargers fan, you got to be excited about him.
I was going to say, if you're a Chargers or a Bungles fan, if they can get someone to protect both of those guys and get some weapons around them, I think they've both got a good future in the league. And I love Justin Herbert. As you say, he takes chances, he'll throw it and all angles, and he's got a deep ball. And you don't want those kind of players. The same with Burrow. You don't want them wasted on bad teams, right? You want to be on a team that you want to see them in prime time, because those guys are prime time. It's just the rest of the team ain't that good.
No. You kind of saw that with Josh Rosen, right?
Chargers games and Bungles games, just to see those two play, right? Because they are box office kind of players.
Yeah.
And I kind of hope going forward that their first 3 or 4 seasons aren't wasted on bum teams. You want them to do well because they are great. They seem, watching Hard Knocks, Justin Herbert seems like a nice kid as well. So you want to see these guys do well in this league. So,
and you also think about it as well. If we think about everyone talks about Mahomes as an example. Yeah, try not to kind of mirror them and say this is the kind of person quarterbacks you should be, because Mahomes, Jackson, for example, they're very special quarterbacks. Yeah, they come through and have some great seasons, as a youngsters. And I think the biggest kind of worries for these young quarterbacks is that everyone's going to kind of almost look and say, like, not quite as good as these guys. They're special quarterbacks. Take them out of the equation and then put and see where they actually do. And actually, then you're thinking, we're lucky that we've got some good young talented quarterbacks coming through. So the future of the game is looking. It's going to be crazy, and hopefully we have there's going to be great matchups coming up, in the future.
It's good. It's good for the NFL going forward that these guys are, again another one Tua tomorrow. Personally, I'm sorry that Fitzmagic has been benched because it's a weird time to bring him in, and it's all, I don't know how Tua's going to do. I didn't see him in college. I don't really know anything about the guy, but it will be interesting to see, how he does against an NFL defense. Not coming in near the end of the game where they're playing prevent or whatever because the game's over. It will be interesting to see how Tua does full speed, start of the game, whether he's kind of nursed into it or a bit like Shanahan does with Garoppolo sometimes. It will be interesting to see. Right, before we go, let's just go around the horn and pick a few games. Mark, Steelers, Ravens. Just
I'm going to go Ravens.
Scott?
Yeah, I'm going. I picked the Ravens.
And I'm definitely not picking Pittsburgh. So Rams, Dolphins. Scott?
Oh man, I'm gonna go. I'll go with the Rams. Just the unknown with Tua is too much. I don't. You just have no idea what you're gonna get there.
I'm gonna go with the Dolphins.
I'm going with the Dolphins because obviously we need the help in the division. So I think your little junior there, Scott, should lone wolf it. Tell her what the lone wolf is and get her to do a lone wolf, I think.
Who are you gonna pick? Rams or the Dolphins?
Dolphins.
Oh. That's a clean sweep. Right, well, do we even need to speak about the Jets and Chiefs? I don't think so. I think it's Chiefs.
The biggest spot in the world if it ever happens.
Another one, which again, I don't think we need to go round the horn with because I think we're all going to pick the Packers, right? Packers, Vikings. Anyone got the Vikings?
No.
Colts, Lions. Scott.
Colts.
Mark.
I was going Colts.
I'm going Lions after last week's heroics. 3-3, could go 4-3. Colts, you don't know what you're going to get. Raiders, Browns. Mark.
Oof. Browns.
Scott.
I'm picking Browns.
I'm never going to pick the Raiders, so that's a clean sweep. Titans, Bungles. Again, do we need to? Can we see any upset here with Joe Burrow? Can we see? I can't think of that wide receiver's name who's not trying at the moment. Can we actually see him trying and getting traded? What? I don't think there's anything else there. Titans all round clean sweep.
Yeah.
Titans.
Patriots versus Bills. Bearing in mind Patriots coming off probably their worst performance for getting the result. It could have been a 6-3 game and their performance could have been putrid. First of all, do we think Cam starts? And what do we think the result's going to be? Scott, lead us off.
It's hard to say with Cam Newton. I definitely, there's a reason the Panthers got rid of him. I was not expecting a lot. I was kind of surprised to start the year that he played as well as he did. But I think teams have kind of figured that running thing out, that college offense that they were running with the quarterback running the ball all the time. So, I don't see the Patriots winning this one.
Mark?
I think Cam will start, but Bills will win.
Do you know the scary thing as well about the Patriots? That they've scored 12 points or fewer in 3 games this season. That is so unpatriot-like. I think Cam will start. I don't know how long he's going to be in there, but don't forget we've all trashed the Bills defense. So it wouldn't surprise me if the Patriots win it. It's a coin flip, but I want to see the Patriots going 2-5. So that would make me very happy because, unfortunately, he is the man that everyone loves to hate because he's been so good for so long. And the thing is, as well, everyone was going, right, well, it was Brady. No, it wasn't. It was Belichick. And now no one knows whether it was Brady or Belichick that made New England so good because sometimes they both suck. Sometimes they're both bloody good. So no one knows. Chargers, Broncos. I'll lead off with this one. Herbert time, baby. I can't see any other. I can't. The Broncos defense is banged up. They were my sleeper team, the Broncos. They're letting me down. So I've got to pick against the Broncos. I'm going Chargers. Scott?
Yep. I'm going Chargers. The same reasons you are.
Letting me down. The Broncos had so much, going for them. And they flashed, but they're not flashing enough for me. Mark, what do you think?
Squeeze. Definitely Chargers, this one. Can't see any other result.
And I hope that Herbert makes me glad that I've picked the Chargers this week. I won't be watching the game, sadly, but I'll catch up with it because there's a far more important game coming on at 9:25. Now, this is an interesting one. Saints, Bears. Now, I still think the Bears are the worst 5-2 team in football. Their defense has carried them. There's been no change really between Foles and I can't even remember his name. Trubisky. Thank you, Chicago, for trading up one place, and we suckered you into it. Thank you very much. That was great because we would never have signed that bum anyway. Defense has done well for them. Saints, I'm still not convinced. Is their receiver Michael Thomas back, or is he still punching geezers out? Who knows? Will he ever play for them? Will he be traded? Kamara, great player. And is it going to be the Kamara show? Because it won't be the Breeze show. Emmanuel Sanders, I don't know if he's back off the COVID thing. I don't think he is. He was the week before the COVID thing. He was a big weapon for them. I don't know. I've still got to pick the Saints personally. I can't. I'm not. I don't buy the Bears at all. I'm afraid. Mark,
this one's going to be a close one. I am leaning towards the Saints. Saints. I think I'm definitely going Saints. Although it will be close, and I don't think it'll be a high-scoring game either.
Scott, what are you and your apprentice thinking? Because I can see over your shoulder again.
She's peeking back in here. No, I think the Saints will win. And Michael Thomas is out again this week. I did see yesterday. So who knows what's going on with him? So
he's got to be seriously on the trade block right about now. If anyone's
I don't know what that. I think he's overrated. Personally, he catches a lot of short slant passes. Everybody makes a big deal about him setting the single season reception record, but he runs and catches a lot of 4 and 5 yard passes. He's a headache. He's kind of a problem, obviously, at this point. That's getting to the point where even the Saints are just not wanting to deal with it. So I'm going to pick the Saints.
As you Americans say, he's a fly in the ointment, a monkey in the wrench. Definitely.
Yeah, that's it. No doubt.
Right. And when the NFL pick these games for, prime time, holy cow, did they know they'd pick such a bum one for Sunday night football. Cowboys at Eagles. Oh my God, what a train wreck. I mean, seriously, how have they not flexed that game out, bearing in mind the records of these? I mean, It's crazy, right?
Big cities with big fan bases, so they'll get a lot of views. They'll get a lot of people watching, regardless of both teams being garbage. But I'm going to pick the Eagles. I saw Dallas Goedert is coming back for the Eagles, it looks like. So that's a big lift for that team, who I don't think should be as bad as they've been, quite honestly. So, but yeah, Eagles for me.
Mark?
Eagles for me. I think Cowboys have been looked pretty shocking the last few weeks, haven't they? And, loss of the quarterback hasn't helped. I can't see anything other than Eagles in this one. And I think it'd be very convincing as well.
I couldn't even tell you who the starting quarterback is for the Cowboys. That's how hilarious this all is. I'm taking sleeping tablets, right, after the Niners game because I don't want to wake up and have to endure watching this shit show. Seriously. Eagles have looked good. Good against the Niners. I know, again, the Niners were banged up on defense, but they did make some plays. I've got to go the Eagles because I want to see Jerry Jones crying on Good Morning Football the day after, really. And I think it's hilarious that the Cowboys are imploding. Right, final or Tuesday night in the UK. Sided affair. Buccaneers, Giants. Scott.
Buccaneers.
I think, to be honest, if Mark is going to pick the Giants, he's obviously banged his head on the door on the way in or something's happened to him.
I've done that once this season. I'm not going to do it again. So, no, it's the Bucks.
I mean, and I want to just touch briefly on it. That Danny Dimes run that he had and then got, I think his body was going faster than his legs, and all of a sudden his body and legs caught up, and I felt so sorry for the kid. But that summed up the Giants this year, right? And I don't know. I mean,
he's fast though. He was outrunning cornerbacks.
But he was running, and you could see the look of fear in his eye, and all of a sudden he fell over, and it was really strange. And yeah, Buccaneers. Right, guys, we've just gone over our 2-hour mark. I'm really glad you could join, Mark. I know you got to go. Scott, as ever, thank you very much. Jeff, Mike Singletary, doesn't happen every week, but I will challenge him to get someone on here every week.
Bye.
Oh, bye. Bye. Have a nice day. Thanks, everyone, for joining. Great show. Thanks for the guests earlier. Danny from Atlanta Falcons, Jason, who's probably stealing his wonderful daughter's candy as we speak. Shame on you, Jason. Let her eat the candy. Happy Halloween to everybody. Don't forget, we're here every Saturday, 2:30 UK time. It will be back to the normal time in America, hopefully next week when the clocks realign. Thanks for joining us. This is the Shank Club NFL. My name's Nick. He's Mark. Over there is Scott. Thanks for joining. We love you all. Take care.
Come back soon, Pete.
Peace.
Yes. Look after yourself, Pete.
You've been told. Come back. Peace.